Hey guys, it's me again. Welcome back to the Ron Williams YouTube channel, Natural Mr. World, Natural Mr. Universe, Natural Mr. Olympia, and Natural Bodybuilder of the Decade. That's a mouthful. I've got Shane with me, and this is just off the cuff. We're just gonna talk back and forth. He's gonna ask questions, and I'm gonna answer those questions, but he's asking the questions not just for himself, but for you. So I want you to pay close attention. Shane, talk to us, man.
So Ron, I get asked all the time from clients of mine, what's the best pre-workout meal? And when's the best timing for a pre-workout meal?
It depends on the person's metabolism. That plays a huge part. The slower the metabolism, the sooner they should eat, because what happens if the metabolism is extremely slow, it takes a while for that food to digest. And whenever you're working your body, all of the blood is pumping to the muscle. So you've got a conflict where the muscle is trying to digest the food and pumping to the muscle that you're using. And at that particular time when you're working out, you want all of the blood to pump into the muscles. If that happens, you've eaten and you're working out, you have no blood in your brain. And so sometimes that causes dizziness, lightheadedness, but at the least part of that, you don't have the concentration that you would normally have to really push through those last reps, man.
Easy there, big guy. I myself have noticed, and I've experimented with different pre-workout meals. So I've had the fiber and the fats before with the protein and the carbs. The fiber is carbs. And I've noticed myself about an hour and a half before, rather than eating the vegetables with the meal, I would eat a whole grain carb, either a brown rice, a quinoa, or a yam. I love yams, cinnamon, and then a protein, a lean protein like chicken or fish or whatnot, but not a lot of fats. And then that meal's a great meal. Then I've noticed myself when I eat the fibrous with the fats and the carbs and the protein, a lot of fiber, it sits in my stomach, and like you said, I don't really get that good pump. Do you find that to be true too for yourself?
Well, one thing, your carbohydrates your carbohydrate takes 20 minutes to an hour to digest and absorb. Your protein takes about 2 hours. Your fats take 4 hours to digest and absorb, and that's why the fats sit there. If you want to develop a low glycemic meal, you make sure you have the fat, the fiber, and the protein with that carb, but that's to decrease body fat. But if you're going to work out prior, you want to make sure you don't have those heavy calories sitting in your stomach. Like you said, you can't get the pump that you want, and it takes away from that focus. I'm gonna do it again, man.
Easy.
Those last couple of reps that you want, sometimes you'll cut those reps off instead of pushing through because of your mental focus.
Okay.
Yeah.
I have a couple more questions. We talked about carbs a little bit. You hear this all the time, dude. Don't eat carbs, man. You're gonna get fat, dude. Stay away from those carbs. I'm just asking this for everyone else. Is there a certain carb you recommend, one versus another, or no carb at all, whether going into a competition or just gaining throughout the year?
One thing is the carbohydrates are the body's #1 choice for energy. All of your carbohydrates turn into sugar, regardless of what type of carb it is. Unless it's a fibrous carb, it can't be utilized, but it's used to cleanse the system and that type of thing. But your carbohydrates are converted into sugar, and then they're stored 2 different ways. One is glycogen in the muscle. Number 2 is stored in the fat, and it's stored as fat in the fat tissue. Fat is only long-term energy. The body looks at fat different than we do. We look at fat and think, oh my goodness, I gotta get rid of this fat. But the body says, I've got all of this long-term energy. If there's ever a famine, I can use it. The problem with carbs that make us fat is when our cells become intolerant to the carbs, and we become resistant. And what happens is the muscle cell becomes resistant and the fat cell becomes resistant. That's when you're on your way to diabetes. It doesn't mean you don't have enough insulin. It means your body is secreting more insulin than it needs, but the cells aren't responding to it the way it used to because we've bombarded it so much with all of these carbohydrates. So we've got to bring the body back to a state where it utilizes those carbs the way they were intended to. And a lot of that comes from a lot of the what they call dirty carbs, or eating a lot of sugary carbs, and just an over amount of it. It destroys your body's sensitivity to insulin.
So that's kind of like the spillover effect with the sponge, right? You soak so much water on a sponge and it eventually just spills over.
That's right. Okay. Absolutely, absolutely.
One more question. I get this a lot, and also I've had coaches myself that have told me different factors. But you're the guy to talk to, Mr. 8 or 7 times, and you're just all over the place. You're blowing up.
Boom!
Yeah. Don't scare me. What's the best? What would you say is the best going into bed? So you know, either you do your post-night cardio to get those extra carbs off, or you're just going to bed after you've worked out throughout on a night workout. What would you say the best post-bed workout or best post-bed meal is? Is it slow digesting? Is it fast? Protein? Do you want a carb with it?
Absolutely. The best thing to do is stop eating 2 hours prior to bed if your desire is to decrease body fat. Now, if your desire is to put on muscle mass, to build mass, if that's your #1 desire, then this is not for you. If you have a fairly decent metabolism, it's not for you either. But if your desire is to get rid of the excess body fat, stop eating 2 hours before bed, eat your complex carbohydrates early in the day and your fibrous carbohydrates at least 2 hours prior to bed, and that's going to be a meal that's going to carry you through the night and also help you decrease the body fat. Make sure you get your protein, your fiber, and your essential fatty acids, and you're going to lose body fat while you're sleeping.
Okay, enough about nutrition. So one more question. How did you get those arms, man? Check these things out. How did you get those arms?
I just want to tell you something, young man. One thing is that, like, when I walk behind you, it's like, it's just, this is the white and this is the black. This is the shadow. This is only the shadow.
This guy. Easy.
Hey guys, I hope you like this video. Again, this is Shane. You have any last words you want to say to him, Shane?
I just want to say, believe in yourself, guys. You don't know where this life's gonna take you. Just don't worry too much about you. I mean, of course, tear it up in here. Be mentally ready when you come in here, guys, in the gym. But I'm gonna say, help people as much as you can, and read your information, and trust this guy. He knows what he's talking about. So,
bam. Hey, love you guys, and give us a thumbs up. Tell us what you think about Shane, and we'll talk to you next time.
What you want?